So the time has come to move on to the final session of the conference. Groups providing connection, recovery, and hope. We'll hear directly from group volunteers in this session. They'll share personal stories of connection and reflect on the impact that support groups have on stroke recovery. This session will be chaired by my colleagues Jed and Kerry, so I'll hand over to them to lead us in. Thank you so much both.
Thank you, Julia. Hello and welcome everyone. It's great to see so many volunteers and group members here today. My name is Jed and I am a Group Networks Officer.
And my name is Kerry and I am also a Group Networks Officer.
And together we'll be your hosts for the final talk of the day. Whether you've been here volunteering for a while or you are just starting out, what you do matters. Every group session, every conversation, every smile and every gesture creates change for someone recovering from stroke. Stroke can change life suddenly, and the journey of recovery can be lonely and uncertain. This is where your work comes in. You offer a safe space where people are heard, understood, and supported. You provide continuity, a sense of belonging, and a connection that we know is so vital for stroke recovery.
As one of our members said, I met stroke survivors who understood and acknowledged what I was going through. It was so reassuring to know that I wasn't abnormal in what I was experiencing. Another said, I can't explain how they help, but they understand how I feel. I'm not the only one who goes through this. This is the real difference that you make every week.
This session is about recognizing and celebrating the incredible contribution of volunteers over the last 20 years, as without them, and obviously without you, we'll not be here. In this session, you hear stories, reflections, and insights from volunteers about the groups and impact it has on members, as well as their own recovery. They are joining us live. Please welcome Con, Nia, Graham, and Julie. Hello, everyone.
Good morning.
Right, let's do some introductions. Con, do you want to start first?
Yes, I'm Con Mullen. I live in Portaferry, which is 25 miles southeast of Belfast. And I had my stroke in October 2023. But I made contact and got in touch with my local Stroke Association support group in Bangor and joined them as a volunteer in September 2024. And I've been involved with them ever since. Also assisted at Communication Plus program in Bangor as well via a speech therapist.
Thank you, Con. And now on to Nia.
Hi, my name is Nia. I am from Barry, South Wales. I had a stroke in 2022. I joined Cardiff Stroke Social Group 3 years ago, and I became a helper volunteer 2 years ago.
Thank you, Nia. And now on to Graham.
Hi, everybody. My name is Graham. I live in Aboyne, which is up in Scotland. I was going to say Bonnie, Scotland, but it's not very bonny at the moment. Aboyne is a little village which is about 30 miles west of Aberdeen. I had my stroke in May of 2022, and I joined the Deeside Stroke Group when I got out of hospital, which was about October of 2022. In March of 2024, I became chairman of the stroke group up here in Deeside, and I've been doing that role since then.
Thank you, Graham. And now, last but not least, Julie.
Hi, my name is Julie, and I live in Sunderland in the northeast. And I had my first stroke 12 years ago, and my second stroke 10 years ago. And I started going to my group as a member, and then I liked it that much. I became a volunteer about a year later, and it's been running for about 9 years now. And what I do, I'm the lead main volunteer, and I'm the leader of that.
Perfect. Thank you all.
Sorry, I've been doing that for 8 years.
That's all right. Thank you so much, all. Thank you for your introduction. And it's so nice to have you here. Graham, Con, Nia, and Julie will also join us later for live Q&A. But before that, we know that most of you are watching today already know what it's like to run a stroke support group. This isn't about explaining that. It's about naming the parts of the work that often go unnoticed and the difference those things make in ways you rarely get to see. This is also why we interviewed today's volunteers to share their tips from their own experiences.
Let's paint a picture, not just about one person, but about many. Someone comes to a group for the first time. They don't know anyone and they haven't been to a support group before. They might not have even known someone that's experienced a stroke. This is the part that volunteers often never see. We asked our volunteers who used to be members of their groups about their experience of joining a group for the first time. When we listened to their stories, 3 things came through again and again.
Firstly, groups provide a space for stroke survivors where they can sometimes be more honest than with friends and family. Their group can also become their second chosen family. Here's what it's like for Con, Nia, and Julie.
I was quite wary of joining the group or get involved with the group initially because I had become very reluctant to interact with people outside my family. And when I first went, I didn't know what was going to happen or who I was going to meet, but I was made very welcome from the very beginning. And to meet the actual group themselves, who are all in post-stroke situations, we all shared our experiences of stroke and the aftermath. And there were very many similarities, but were also quite different in many ways as well.
I think at the beginning, that's all I did. All I did was cry. I think most of it, because obviously I could, so people can understand what I was going through. Mm-hmm. Because obviously, my family and my friends, they've never been through that, and obviously I'm the first. Well, I don't want the first one to be it, but it was fine that because obviously you hide things from family and friends because they just want to know that you're here. But whereas when you go to the group, you can be quite honest, and you can say, "Look, I feel that. I feel like, oh, you're having a good day. You're having a bad day. How are things going?" So I just, fatigue is horrendous, and sort of knowing them to say, "Well, yeah, this is me." You put that mask on, and obviously my friend's going to be looking really good, but they don't know what's happening in my brain. Yeah, and I think that's the hardest thing, I think, is for them, because obviously when you hear about a stroke, they always think it's older people, and also we've all got different abilities, different disabilities. So maybe they would expect me to have a problem with my arms or couldn't work with my legs, but I said no. The other people are very different, like me.
So my aim is making sure they feel safe coming in, and just being there to support each other. Even when the group's not on, they've got my number, so if they ever want to get in touch, they can reach out if they're having a bad day. If we're not at the group, they can private messages, and I'll be there, give them a bit of time to listen to why they're having a bad day. So my aim is just to keep providing support outside the group as well as inside group if the people need it.
Secondly, groups don't manage recovery. They help people imagine a life again. Even though life might look different now, going to a group shows them that they're not alone. Bringing your own experience to the members of your group helps them give hope for the future. Here's how Julie uses her story to support others.
I bring my experience to my group members by sometimes when they first come, I would like to talk a bit about what made me start doing what I do. So the reason I do what started off is because I had obviously 2 strokes, but and then my experience of stroke. I like to tell them a little bit about my story, a little bit about what works for me and what doesn't work for me as well. So sometimes I get really frustrated and angry at times, and it used to be, why did it happen to me and stuff like that. And I think it's just part getting frustrated is because you can't do some of the things you used to do, and so I try and tell my members it's okay to feel like that. It's normal. We're all human at the end of the day, so we all have good days and bad days. And don't be hard on yourself if you're having a bad day. Just take your time, especially like trying to find the words sometimes some of the members find difficult. So then I say, it's fine, just count to 10 and then go again type thing. So and it's just reminding them being like, don't be hard on yourself, because I know I'm the biggest culprit for that. I can be so hard on myself at times thinking. So I try and tell them it's okay to have good like moments, and then obviously, and then what works for me, I try and tell them I try and be patient with myself as well, and realize it's not all about what you can do and what you can't do. It's just like realizing there's ways around, trying to find ways around things as well. So I try and remind my members just be patient with yourself, as well as being kind to yourself as well, and realizing it's one of them. This has happened to you. It's not the end of the world. This is the new you. What's the word? I can't think of the word. This is the new you, and obviously it's I always think I've been lucky to be given this new me, because I just think especially when the doctors didn't think I was going to make it, so I just kind of think of myself positive that I'm still here. I can talk now. I can work with other stroke survivors and the families and stuff. So I'm lucky to be here, be able to do this. I wasn't doing that before. I was working with children, so this is my new improved me. So I try and tell the members this and not be hard on yourself, really.
The support, information, and activities you offer can make a real difference. They often help fill the gap that many stroke survivors feel when they can't access the support they need. Sometimes the group's meeting venue is the most accessible and probably the closest place they can find to find support. We're going now to hear directly from Graham and Con about the difference that the group makes for the members.
I joined the group almost as soon as I came back from hospital. So in 2022, when I had my stroke, I got out of hospital after 4 months in hospital, and I joined the group almost immediately on returning from hospital. I would say that initially my focus was on continuation of the things I'd been doing in hospital around physiotherapy and recovery on a physical perspective. So that was my initial focus, and therefore the group was extremely useful in the early days, because it was a great continuation of what I'd been doing in hospital. Our group is very exercise focused. We have a group physiotherapist, and we run sessions every week. I'm very proud of our group, and whenever we get a new member joins our group, and then they return the following week, I'm very proud, because then it means that we're delivering something that they want or need in their recovery, and that obviously makes me feel very proud. But as a specific example, I'll give you an example. The other morning, this is just last week, I was at the group, and I overheard a conversation between a new member who is returning for the second or third week, and he was talking before we start our classes. We sit around in a sort of a semicircle. And the physiotherapist, Anna, our group physio, who was talking to Michael, one of our new members, and he said that he had learned more about his stroke recovery in the last 2 weeks than he had done since he'd had his stroke and all the time he was in hospital. And he understood more about what his physical recovery and what was required. And so that made me feel very proud.
I can see that it certainly helped myself regain the confidence I'd lost, but I can see what it means to the members of the group themselves, because they all look forward to it, and it is a big event each week, and it's something they all look forward to going to, all look forward to interacting with each other and enjoying each other's company. So it's extremely important, not only socially but also physically, because from the simple little physical activities they do, it's keeping them somewhat exercised and both mentally and physically.
So today, we want to recognize that you do so much more than just simply run groups. You create a safe and steady space for people at a time when their life have been turned upside down. You also bring joy and laughter back into people's lives. And so many of you draw on skills and experience from your previous work, using them in new and meaningful ways to help your groups thrive. For example, Nia, who used to be a teacher.
And I think a lot of the things we have, we laugh, because I think you either cry or you laugh. And I think it's one of the things, we wind each other up, not wind each other up, but say something, and you just got to realize, right, we can laugh at each other, because obviously, as I said, no, my words don't come out. Somebody else might not get their words out, or what am I doing, and that kind of thing. I think the volunteers were all very, not the word friendly is the word, but we know each other quite well, I think, and we can be supporting each other who's going through a tough time or anything like that, and I think that's the biggest thing for me, is finding that obviously I came to the group, and then obviously they realized, and that obviously I can use some of my skills to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And I think knowing that that's helping somebody in the long run is going to help the people who are helping us, I think.
As we move on today, we're not just looking back at what you've done. We're looking at what makes this work sustainable, meaningful, and possible for the future. When people talk about volunteering, they often ask one question: why do you do it? But if you've been here for a while, you know that that's not the most interesting question anymore. A better one is, what is it that helps you keep doing it? We'd like you to take some time to think about this question for yourselves. You can share your answers in the text box, which will pop up on the screen in a moment, or bring them to the Connect and Chat after this session.
What keeps people motivated can sometimes be just knowing a few simple things. Firstly, that you're allowed to be human. Secondly, that you don't have to fix everything, and what you do matters, even on ordinary days. We also heard that volunteering gives people purpose after stroke. Often, volunteering for your local support group can support your own recovery and fill in a gap. We ask our volunteers what keeps them motivated to volunteer for their groups and what the group means to them.
So that's another one of my things, is carry on keeping it going really as much as I can, because after lockdown I felt like, was this still the thing I wanted to do? And then after speaking to some of the members and how lonely they felt, I thought I want to carry on this group, not just for me, but for the members as well, because some of them haven't got no other support apart from the group. So it's really just providing support for the group as much as I can.
For me, then, it allowed me to start to speak a bit more, because the stroke had affected my speech. Well, in my mind, it had affected my speech, and therefore I was quite reluctant to talk in groups. But I have since got over that, and now get involved with the group. Each week I get that bit more confidence to talk more, and I can learn from the people at the group as well, from what they've been coping with. So for me, it has made a big change. I look forward to going to the group every week, because it is a valuable resource. I can volunteer and assist other people, but also the group itself helps me get my confidence back, and also get my ability to talk, which had greatly suffered in the initial stages after stroke.
When I became chairman, I would say that in terms of my stroke journey, it changed slightly when I became chairman, because my involvement with the Stroke Association increased, and I had to take responsibilities for making sure the group was functioning well. So that helped my cognitive recovery as much as my physical recovery. So I would say that it changed as I moved from being just a member of the group to being chairman of the group. In a good way, though, because it helped to fill a bit of a gap from work, I would say, if that makes sense. So maybe when you have a stroke, and I haven't been able to work since I had my stroke, you lose a bit of purpose, and I think becoming involved with the group helped me to regain a purpose in my life, and almost a bit like going back to work. So I think about our group now like a little bit of an organization that helps people who have had strokes. So I see myself as the person who makes sure that that organization works well and delivers what our members really need.
Throughout the conference, today and yesterday, we had some great tips and advice on running a support group. As members of Stroke Group Network, you are probably aware of numerous resources we have to support you and your members. However, the people that understand this work the best are the volunteers. Our volunteers have learned a huge amount, often throughout trial, error, and a lot of cups of tea. They're the ones having the real conversations, noticing what works, what doesn't, or what makes someone feel safe enough to come back next week. We asked for some practical tips that you can take away. Nia, Julie, Graham, and Con will also be joining us for a live Q&A later at the end of the session, where you can ask them directly. We also welcome you to share any tips and reflections you might have yourself in the chat.
I think when I heard the volunteer that I'm a group with on a Monday, a couple of other people have gone back to work. Obviously, I can't go back to do my job, but I think it's supporting them and letting them talk and see how they feel and stuff. And for them to say, look, I'm tired, or I've got fatigue, or I've got, everyone's different, I think. And I think everybody's got different skills as well. So I think people can help each other, I think. I think with volunteering also, remember you're a part of a team. And obviously we've all got very different skills. We're working together. I think we're all quite a good team.
Mm-hmm.
And just support each other as much as you can. Somebody's having a bad day, let them have a bad day. Or if they're having a great day, or saying, oh, look, I've done this, or I've done this for the first time since I've had the stroke, and stuff like that. Even myself and the volunteers there, we're still going through that process. And I think it's a long journey, because everybody thinks it's once you've had the stroke, obviously you can deal with things, but obviously it's a long process. It's sort of, when you've broken your arm, it's 6 weeks, done. But obviously with ours, it's a very long.
I like to think I'm a believer in aphasia anyway, because I think there's not enough support out there in the world anyway on aphasia. So what we have is we have like a little workbook thing. So when members come, they can write like any things that got wrong with them. So there's things like tea and coffee. Some people can't say the words, so they can find the picture. And we've also got like little cards with like yes and no on and stuff. So we'll say, do you want a drink, like a drink, and the pointer yes or no, and we have also like pen and papers available, because some like they're like little notes. So like things like some people like to write 3 as in 3 sugars, and then they write milk. They might put a little bit. They write the word little on the piece of paper and stuff. So there's always stuff out there to support them. So there's like pens available and paper. There's little cards, like I say, there's booklets with there's like booklets, like I say, where they can write in what things makes it easy when they come to group and stuff. We always take them and show them where the toilets and things are, because that's some people don't like not know where the toilet is, because especially if they can't obviously say they need a toilet or anything. So I like to show them where things are, so then they know exactly where everything is. But and it's we just try and I'm just getting my notes as well. Obviously, and just give them the time to be able to get what their point across as well, because some people takes them a while to be able to say, I want a drink. So I just try and give them as much time. And what annoys me though, when family members are trying to talk for them, so I always say, leave them to try and say themselves. And obviously, and then then sometimes you can see them like they've tried and they're still struggling. So then I say, do you want this to help you? But then, and they either say yes, no, or like shake the head or whatever. But then half the time they get there, it's just giving them the support and the time and the patience to be able to say what they need to say, if that makes sense.
Stroke recovery might start in hospital, but support can continue for a lifetime because of you and your amazing groups. It happens because people show up consistently and together, and that shared presence alone can make a huge difference to someone's stroke recovery. Our hope for the future is that groups will continue to be the warm, welcoming places where people can make real life choices, volunteers feel supported and confident, and everyone shares their experience so that the whole group grows together. These will be groups that keep evolving in brilliant ways because the people in them are trusted, valued, and empowered to lead the change.
And the other thing that we do is, because as I've said, we have a group physiotherapist who runs our classes. And before anybody comes to our group, she would do a home visit, make sure that what we are doing at the group aligns with the goals of the individual who wants to come to the group. So if they get in touch with us as a group, then she'll do a home visit and chat to the potential new member and make sure that what we're doing aligns with their objectives of recovery. And then we need to be flexible and make sure that what we're doing will help them when they come.
Gaining from that, and the groups around Northern Ireland, some of them, from what I could tell, some of them have struggled to get groups started up. So, but from the future, I would hope it will continue to grow because there's always going to be a demand, unfortunately. So, because stroke survivors are going to be looking around for assistance in any way they can. So they'll always be there. Those people come and joining the queue, as it were. But I can see likewise how much it means to the people who are attending it, and to think that other people are losing out from that experience. It would be different. It would be terrible to think that, say, they didn't have access to such a group.
My hopes is for the group is that everyone carries on coming to the group and making the group bigger, because we only have between 8 and 12 members. So I don't think enough people know about groups and about groups in their local area. My hopes and dreams is to make the group bigger and always improve on what we do. So obviously we do a mixture of activities and stuff, but my aim is there's always something to improve, like as in there's always something to work forward. So like I say, I want to make it bigger, the group. I want more members to come, because I know we haven't reached everyone that needs the group really. So my big aim is to try and get it out there a bit more.
Lastly, I want to take this back to you, because after all, it will not be possible without you anytime you give to support our charity, groups, and other stroke survivors. What you do truly matters and helps us make a real difference. Our Stroke Group Network team is taking time to listen to volunteers so that we can learn what's going well and what could be better. We are currently working on improving the support and communication we offer so that volunteering with us feels positive, welcoming, and enjoyable for everyone.
Even though the conference might only be once a year, our support for you is here all year round. If you have any feedback, want to get involved, or need support with anything, please get in touch with us on our email, which is groupnetworks@stroke.org.uk. Today, we've heard lots of tips and advice from staff and volunteers. We know that this might be a little bit of an information overload, so we've compiled all the relevant resources in links in the additional talk information, which you can find on the conference pages.
And now we'd like to welcome back today's volunteers, Con, Nia, Graham, and Julie, who will be joining us for our live Q&A. Feel free to pop your questions in the chat. While everyone is kind of joining us, we're gonna also go through some reflections from the chat.
Yep, so I've been keeping an eye on the chat and some of the nice reflections and comments that we've had. So we've had one comment that says this talk has reminded me how amazing our volunteers really are and the difference that they make to stroke survivors. Some of the comments that we've had around what keeps our volunteers going include seeing the happiness and sense of achievement from my art group is what keeps me going, which is lovely. And I keep volunteering because our group members say how important the group is to them, but we acknowledge that it is hard work and it is a big time commitment, but it's also appreciated, guys. Another one was, as a volunteer, it's great to see how our meetings are the highlight of our members' week. This session has showed me that volunteering for the Stroke Association is about people feeling welcome and connected, and that it's made me notice and appreciate all the little things that volunteers do to improve the lives of stroke survivors. So some really lovely reflections, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Gary. And now let's go to the questions. And we have our first question of the day. So the question is, if everyone watching took one activity or support idea from today back to their own group, what would you recommend? And now, who would like to start first? Nia, would you like to go first?
Oh, thanks. Great.
Sorry, putting you on the spot.
Okay. I think the hardest thing is, I think it's a long journey, and everyone is very different. How you can help other people in different ways, and I think, you know, for me, obviously, Welsh is my first language, so I find that quite hard, having to change things over and over. And I can see how people who've got aphasia and stuff with me, I know what they're going through, and they can see there is a light at the end of the tunnel, but it's a long tunnel away.
Perfect, thank you, Nia. Con, Graham, or Julie, do you have anything to add to the answer? Cool. All right, then. We're going to move on to the next question. So a question from Amanda. So Amanda has said that our group is going from strength to strength, but we are victim of our own success. We now have a waiting list for people who want to join, as we can cope with more than 50 active members. We also pay a self-employed coordinator to run the group, but it's hard to get funding to pay for ongoing costs. How do other groups cope with increased demand and funding?
Can I go?
Yeah, of course. Go for it.
Get in touch with your local MP, because we have been in touch with our local MP and they're helping us get some funding for the group. And that seems to be working. That's how I deal with getting funding.
Perfect. Thank you, Julie. Cool. Moving on to another question as well, kind of in the similar line. So our group offers some great support. We are struggling to get a good number of regular attendees. How do you promote your group to members?
What I do is I put on Facebook, but I put on we put on local area that we've got a group and try and get new members to come that way. So we write on Facebook about our local group in the area, because some people's new in the area and just know about the group and stuff. And that's how I get, and obviously trying to do it that way to get new members to come in.
Cool, thank you. That's like wonderful advice. Colin, Graham, do you have like any advice from your kind of side of the world? Because obviously I'm very aware that I'm very like geographically distributed throughout the entire country.
Sorry, Jade, I missed the question. Sorry, what was the question? Could you repeat that, please?
Yeah, sure. So the question was, how do you promote your group to the members?
Okay, right. So we have we do different things. We've got posters up in various local like places where people meet, maybe medical center and things like the dentists and things like that. So we have posters up and we have flyers as well, and we also advertise our group in a local magazine that comes out for the local area, so that it's always there. But other than that, we rely on Stroke Association referrals quite often.
Cool, thank you. Con, do you have anything to add?
No, well, in our experience, the Stroke Association does tend to put a lot of people our way, but likewise the local health board group, the community physios, community OTs are very good at recommending people to come our way as well. So unfortunately, there never seems to be a problem with new members coming along all the time. The demand is always there, and there seems to be plenty of people about to advise where to come.
Perfect, thank you. It's really great to hear also you guys mentioning the self-referral forms as well. We are really glad that that also is helping volunteers. We also have a question to all of you, actually. So the question is, what do you wish professionals understood better about stroke survivors' day-to-day lives? I'm gonna let someone pick themselves first, because I really feel bad about making a pick myself and putting someone in the spotlight.
Can you repeat the question again, please?
Yes, sure. So the question is, what do you wish professionals understood better about stroke survivors' day-to-day lives?
I think professionals need to realise more a bit about aphasia as well, because not many people know about it, especially like doctors, and even I would say like doctors are the worst for it and things like that. I think they need to be more aware of it and find out exactly what it is. That's what I wish they would do better.
Cool, thank you. Nia, would you like to add to that?
Yeah, I think similar as Julie said, I think my doctor didn't see me for a year since I'd had the stroke, and they had no idea what was going on. And I think that's quite hard because they don't realise how different this is, I think, and I think, when you go to the consultants, they understand everything, but with the doctor, no idea. They just do the practical things of their things. And that's quite hard, I think, trying to explain again and again and again what's gone on and how you are and how your day is very different from before you had the stroke.
Perfect, thank you. Colin, would you like to go next?
Yeah, but personally, my experience with the local GPs, for example, where there weren't particularly much help. The help came from the actual physios and OTs, who were more clued as to what we were experiencing, what we needed. The actual doctors were outside the hospital, were little help, and it took a lot of contact and a lot of push on them to get them to respond to my needs. So yeah, there's certainly a need for education among certain professionals, but not particularly with those at the coalface, those dealing with the physical problems of stroke. As I say, the OTs and physios were extremely helpful, as were the speech therapists. The outside that, yeah, general public's understanding of a stroke can be quite strange. They seem to have a set idea of how stroke people experience their stroke and how they appear afterwards. They don't seem to understand the difference in the subtleties of how stroke affects everyone differently. From aphasia and onwards, they don't seem to have any concept of that, really. I think they get most of their information from how stroke is portrayed on TV programs and how characters in soaps have responded. And they think we all basically are the same. So there's the general public generally need a lot more information, a lot more advice on how people survive strokes.
Perfect. Thank you, Con. That was a really interesting point. We've had a question specifically for Graham and his Deeside group. So Graham, we've been asked in the chat, how does your group fund their physio?
Okay. So our physio, we pay for the physio from our bank account, our group bank account. So basically our bank account, we obtain money through grants and from fundraising activities or donations. So essentially we just pay for our physio from the group bank account. It's one of our bigger expenses on an ongoing basis, actually. physio and the venues that we rent. We actually have two different groups that we run in two different villages, and the venues are ongoing cost every week, obviously. So we need to make sure that we've got money in the bank for that. So we're quite focused on our finances quite often.
Perfect. Thank you, Graham. And we've also been asked a question on kind of a similar vein about funds and whatnot. We've been asked about how we can support groups with fundraising. So we will have a forum coming up very soon to help groups with fundraising. So please keep an eye on your email inboxes to see when that will be and how you can join.
Well, thank you, Kerry. We also have a question from Vivian. Our group has room for more members. Could the Stroke Association help us increase our reach and advertising? That's a question for me and Kerry. Yes, definitely that's something that we can do. We did have a slide with our email address where you can reach us as well. But obviously, we are aware that email sometimes might not be the best way to kind of receive information. So if at any point you want to schedule a call with us or anything, just drop us a line and we are happy to help you with that. Whether it's listed via our group or help you design leaflets, that's something that we can look into. Kerry, is there anything to add? Anything that I missed to this answer?
Don't think so, but we have had another question from David about accessible transport, which I'm happy to go into if that's helpful. So David has said, regarding the cost of accessible transport, we all know it's very expensive. We've discovered an organisation called Community Transport that have wheelchair accessible minibuses and are much cheaper than the commercial companies. It allows for self-drive or will provide a driver for a cost. So if you check with your local voluntary organisation development agency for more details and availability in your area. So we can share that information after the conference if that's something that you'd be interested in.
Wonderful, thank you, David. We also have another question as well about kind of help for the volunteers. So the question is, what training or resources would make volunteering easier?
Not as many, not load of courses as well. I think it's too much, especially when you're a stroke survivor and you've got all this training you've got to do. It's a bit too much at times. It's like too much in your face, and obviously when you have fatigue as well, sometimes it's too much. So I know you've got to do training and stuff, but I think it needs to be short and sweet.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's a very good point, Julie, and thank you for bringing that up. We are aware that some of our stuff might be quite lengthy and not the most accessible. So that's kind of something that we also kind of looking into making a bit more aphasia friendly and just much more accessible, because as you kind of said, it's quite a lot to like volunteer and do like all the training on top of that.
Perfect. Thank you, Jed. Thank you, Julie. And we've just had another reflection come in actually that says sometimes the quantity of work can feel really overwhelming and having more volunteers would help. So we do have space on our intranet about wellbeing for volunteers. We've also got a video in the extra support area on this platform if that's something that resonates with you. So again, do just check that area after we finish talking today and you can find out more information on that. And another reflection, it's been really good to listen to the 4 volunteers and share their plans, etc. for their groups. We have our group's AGM this week and it will be a really great help. So thank you to all of our speakers for sharing their advice and their tips.
I just want to say thank you so much for everyone attending, and also so much for our wonderful speakers today. Thank you so much for coming today and answering all the questions and sharing your stories. As you could see from the chat, it was just very powerful to share that with other volunteers. And I'll be handing over to Julia.
Thank you so much to all our speakers in that talk. It's just so lovely to hear directly from volunteers about your experiences of being a member and then becoming a volunteer and how that's helped with your well-being and recovery. And also the stories that you can tell about the positive experiences of the members in your groups. You know, hearing Graham talking about how proud he is of the support that his group gives to members, with one member saying that they had more support and information in 2 weeks than they had in all the time they were in hospital and post-hospital. And we're not denying the huge important role that hospitals and aftercare is for stroke survivors, but stroke support groups can give that understanding and extra help that may not be provided by the hospital, and that shows how important your roles are in the stroke care pathway. So we just wanted to finish off the conference by sharing a video that we created last year for our website. We really wanted to bring to life the friendly and welcoming communities that you've created for stroke survivors and how important they are for their well-being. We have a list of groups on our website with descriptions and contact information, but we know that contacting somebody after a stroke and joining a new group of people can feel really daunting. So we developed this video to bring that support to life, to show people that there's a very warm welcome waiting for them at the entrance of your groups, and they will instantly be part of a lovely community. And we shared it at last year's conference, but we know there's about 50% of you who are new to the conference this year. So we just wanted to share it with you again today.
I love it here. It's, you know, it's just brilliant to see everybody and talk, and then I make some lovely friends, you know. So
Paul could sing before he could talk again after his stroke.
Yes.
And we do lots of singing and practice here.
So I sing for Elvis.
Really Elvis, yeah.
Elvis.
I saw all these people and it was lovely to know that somebody else had got the same.
The carers can come and be part of it and talk. And that, I think, is the main thing that I would take from the group. The group has basically helped me most to know myself also, that I am important in this whole thing. I need to be able to know what to do, when to do, and how really to go about it all.
At the end of March, I couldn't talk then, but I can now. If it hadn't been for Richard and Martin in the Torbay Stroke Survivors group, I wouldn't know half of what I know now.
And I came here and it was a safe place to come, and I felt normal. And everybody understood and nobody minded when I burst into tears. I just felt a normal person again.
The groups helped my husband with his recovery immensely due to the communication and the social aspect of it, socialising with other people that have had a similar experience to his. So it's been fantastic that way.
If someone was thinking about coming along to a group, I would say please do, because it's actually, people could probably do with hearing your experience, because I came and was helped so much by the people who were already at the group.
I am a stroke survivor, and I would really recommend it to anybody who is thinking about perhaps coming along and a bit wary of it and a bit worried about it. There's nothing to worry about at all, because people are so very welcoming. Just like a long-lost friend, for want of a better word.
You would say to other survivors and carers, what should they say? Just
do it.
Do it.
Do it.
That's what you wanted to
kick on. Yeah.
You've just heard people talking about their experiences at stroke groups and how they've benefited from the support. If you would like to join a stroke group, you can find one in your area by looking at the website at our stroke support group page and filling in a referral form. Or you can call our helpline at 0303 30 33 100, and they will happily contact the group for you.
And that sadly brings us to the end of the Stroke Group Network conference this year. A huge heartfelt thank you to all our speakers for everything you've shared over the past 2 days. Volunteers stepping out of their comfort zone, coming onto a new platform you're not used to, and being really generous with your experience and your honesty. We can't thank you enough. It's been a wonderful 2 days. And thank you so much to our audience for taking part so generously through your ideas, all your questions and your reflections and feedback. We all learn so much from looking at the chat bar, and that will feed into our work going forwards. I hope you're leaving this conference having learned something new, feeling inspired, or simply feeling appreciated for all the incredible work you do running support groups. I'm personally going away feeling truly in awe of all the resilience and amazing determination shown by many of our speakers. To hear how people have come through such hard challenges and then gone on to support others through similar journeys has been so inspiring. And something they all shared was that they couldn't have done it without the support of others around them. So to every one of you who provides that support, a big heartfelt thank you from us. So we'd really like to keep these connections going. After the conference, we'll be sending you an email to invite you to a series of smaller online forums. We really hope you can come along. And all that leaves me to say is thank you all once again for being such a wonderful audience. I hope you enjoyed this year's conference, and we're really looking forward to seeing you again soon.